One of our favorite climbing crops is green beans. They'll happily climb anything you plant them near, but this year we planted them under these arching trellises made of cattle panels and T-posts. It makes them easy to find and collect. There are a number of ways to eat these beans, including raw in salads, cooked fresh, and canned. Today we're looking at our process for canning since we get the most mileage out of them that way. We collect them every few days until we have a batch large enough to work with, keeping them in the refrigerator. Then we'll take them all out together and cut the ends off and prep for canning. We typically save these cut ends and freeze them with other vegetable refuse like carrot tops and onion skins to be boiled later to make vegetable broth. Once the tops are removed, we cut the main bean into halves or thirds before we move on to canning. As with any canning project, you really have to have all the pieces of the puzzle ready to go before you get started. So we set everything out on a small table right in front of the stove where the canner is. We preheat our water and then get our clean jars hot in it before we start to fill them. Even with chunky solids like green beans, we find that using a funnel really simplifies the process, and of course right after the jar is full, you'll need the funnel anyway to add hot water, so it makes sense to use it for both. We always have to remind ourselves to force out any air bubbles trapped under the beans, and to wipe off the edge of the jar before we put the lid on. For food safety reasons, you'll need to take a look at your own approved canning recipe book and make sure you're canning at proper pressure for the proper time for each different food type. We definitely have to monitor our heat to keep the pressure at the minimum for whatever we're canning. Once the time has passed, we take them out carefully with the right tools so we don't burn ourselves, and we set them out to cool slowly with towels over and under the jars to help avoid breaking the glass. Lastly, just like in the grocery store, all food can go bad eventually, so we take a dry erase marker and date our lids so we always know how old our food is.